And begin. The Jerky Boys. Have you ever heard of them? Listened to them? If you haven't, you should do a search for them. If they have a channel, I'll put one up here. They were in the, I guess it was maybe late 80s, early 90s. Maybe it was mid 90s. I can't. No, because I was in high school. So yeah, well, that could be 90, 91, 92, 93. They were these guys, and they just made prank phone calls, and they were hilarious. So, yeah, that was before caller ID. You can't do that anymore. Which sucks, because I used to be able to do it at work because we had old phones. Now we have new phones, and it's too easy. So, I guess briefly, I want to tell you an uplifting story. I wanted to talk about the testing and the results that they came forward with about the marijuana testing today, which is inaccurate, false, and well, I'll back up my claims in a little bit, but I want to keep it pleasant because I've only got a few minutes, and I don't think I'm going to get to that tonight because I've got other things I got to do. Once again, if you guys like these, share them, subscribe, comment, anything you want to ask me or you want to talk about or whatever, you want to try to Skype in on this and see if we can do something, let me know. I think that'd be a lot of fun. It'd be fun to play a game or something, like shoot each other. Anywho, I used to work for this company called Jordan's Furniture. They're in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. I don't think they have any other stores, but there's 5 or 6 stores now. And they're the most unique furniture stores ever. Let me tell you their beginnings. They started with a store in Waltham. I think it was 3 floors of furniture. Just a family-owned business. They had greeters that would meet you at the door and give you a piece of candy. And their decor was very unique and stood out. But it wasn't anything to like really write home about. But it was enough to cause a stir, I think. And so when the Barry and Elliot Tatelman took it over, I can't remember when they took it over, 80s. They basically started opening other stores. I can't remember if they'd opened them before or not, but the Avon store, the one that I worked at in the IT department, it was crazy. And it wasn't the craziest store by the time I left Massachusetts. But our store had greeters that would give you candy when you came in, and just people all over the store. The sleep lab had black ceilings with those LED lights that just keep twinkling, and they had a thing called Motion Odyssey Movie, and it was a 3D stadium seating theater with rotating, and they could move the seats. That you had these, the big bong things that come down. Bong, the guards. And you'd watch a movie. Sometimes it would be like 2 o'clock would be the roller coaster, and you're like, and they got fans and water, and it's crazy. It's really awesome. That's a furniture store. They had like all these white sculptures painted and placed on the ceiling like an astronaut. It was just cool. You went down there, you could buy those little space ice cream dot things and popcorn and soda. And you go in, you do your thing, and then you go shopping. And if you bought anything when you left, they had a grill or a hot dog thing where they rotated hot dogs on. Some days in the summer, though, they'd have grills out there, which was awesome because then you could grill your own stuff if you really wanted to. But you could go down there, like IT in a furniture store. It had its challenges, but there wasn't a lot. Like, it's a furniture store. Like, if everything's running properly, if no cords are gone bad, or a backup fails or something like that. Other than that, it's pretty good job. Like, the people above me had a much harder job, but I feel like whatever. So that's this main store. I mean, you got a lot of celebrities in there too. Aerosmith, Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, I believe they go in there. Patriots, Red Sox, anybody who lives in the area sports-wise, they come in there sometimes, and you're like, holy shit, there he is. Just shopping, because people got to shop, right? Like I said, they don't have to. They could go online, but I'm going to talk about that whole Amazon drone and groceries and Maybe another video. Anywho, Jordan's Furniture opened another store. They have like a restaurant with this huge fish tank, floor to ceiling, maybe 15 feet, with all these sharks and fish and stuff in it. And then they have an IMAX theater in it. This is a furniture store, mind you. Well, Mr. Snowball, second richest man in the world, just gave up half of his fortune. What a wonderful man. Warren Buffett got the attention of the company, bought it from Barry and Elliott, who agreed as long as they could still run it, or he wanted them to continue to run it because they know what they're doing. So now they're kind of like, wow, we have all this money from selling the company. What do? They give every employee that works there 25 cents for every hour that they worked. Every hour. I had worked there only 2 or 3 years, and I got like a $3,000 check or something. I'd have to do the math. I might be wrong. Maybe I worked there longer, or the check was less. I want to say it was like $2,000 or $3,000 though. Like, just boom. I mean, what a wonderful gesture. This is how the world spins happier. People doing stuff like this. Every employee was thrilled. I mean, guys walked out of it with $14,000. I think that was the highest. $14,000. Like, but that's awesome. I mean, good for them. They didn't have to do that. They're people that care about their employees. And because of that, they have a good, a very small turnover rate. And another thing they did, every year they'd raffle off tickets. Like, I went to go see the Red Sox, like, right behind home plate for winning some contest that I think you just had to enter your name or something like that. And that was it. Then we got the CD in the mail one day from Barry and Elliott. They recorded the CD, sent it to all their employees. You play it, it says, "Hey, this is Barry and Elliott Dableman. We want to invite you guys to come have breakfast with us at this location on this day on our tab." So I didn't get to go. Gwen had just been born, I think, right around that time. Maybe she was 3 or 4 months old or whatever. But and so I was like, damn. I was like, I'll have to call somebody. And I think my friend Tiff at the time, Spirit Medium Tiff. If you've got a YouTube channel, I'll link it. She had gone, so I ended up calling her, or she called me, and she's like, "Were you there this morning for breakfast?" I was like, "No, I couldn't make it. What happened?" They're like, "They're taking us to Bermuda." Like, no, they're not. She could kid around like this and joke and stuff, so I was like, "They're not taking it." She's like, "No, really they are. I'm not kidding. They're really taking us all to Bermuda for one day." I'm like, for one day, they're going to rent all these jets to take us down to Bermuda for one day. I'm like, you're crazy. And I was like, all right, I'll see you at work later. Then I got to work and I ran into Dave Crow in the IT department. He was a nice guy. I really liked working with him. Well, I can't say anything because he might still work there. He probably doesn't. I could probably say it, but he was a really cool guy. He's like, "Dude, where were you this morning?" I was like, I couldn't make it. I have Glenn in the morning. He's like, "Oh, yeah. He's just like, "They're taking us to Bermuda." I was like, oh my God, they really are. And lo and behold, they set the date. And on that day, we got it to Jordan's Furniture at like 4 in the morning or something crazy. We slept on these vans to go up maybe like 20 minutes up the road to the Logan Airport. And then we got our tickets, we boarded our flights, slept for probably another hour and a half, and landed in Bermuda. I lost my birth certificate there. So if you're watching this and you're in Bermuda and you happen to see Jason Oliveira's birth certificate, that's me. Send me a message. I miss it. Somehow I got back out of the country, though. I don't know. They didn't check or something. It's we spent the whole day. So the early morning, I think we get there around 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it doesn't take, when you get there, it's actually harder and longer to get off the off the plane and go through customs and, oh no, not go through customs, but basically get through the line to get out of there. Then there's like a few employees that were just basically saying, "Hey, this is going on." Oh no, I think we had schedules like at this time we're having this, at this time we're having this. I wanted to spend a little time at the beach, but not much time. And most people hung out at the beach all day. I wasn't a big water person then. I wish I was. Oh my God. The water was so clear. You could go out 4 or 5 feet and you would have been able to see your toes on the bottom. Like, it was so blue but clear. I'd never seen water like that before. That's the only time I've ever been out of the country. Was Bermuda. Oh, Bermuda, you devil. And so I wanted to go into town and like eat food and check out the sights and like, how often do you get to explore like a place like that, like Bermuda, like, so you get in these vans that they take you back and forth from the city or the nearest like village basically, the beach back and forth all day, just constant. But these roads are super thin and it's tight. It's really tight. And sometimes you're like looking down some hillish, cliffish area where you're like, oh my God, I hope this guy knows what he's doing because this is insane how close we are. So I did that, went into town. It was just a lot of fun, man. That was the only time that I've ever been out of this country. I basically was alone for a good portion of the day, just exploring this land. Like, that was probably the spark. Like, because I love New Hampshire, and I used to go to New Hampshire every summer, and it still had that spark, but this was something new. This was like somewhere I'd never been, somewhere I may never be again. Like, when you're given opportunities like that, I think you have to take advantage of them. Like, it's nice to be at the beach, and the water was beautiful. Like I said, it's a very different environment. So just the weather was beautiful and everything. Perfect day for it. And they had this luau or something, or some pig roast, or I can't remember what they'd had on the beach, but I didn't even come back for it. I just wanted to like exist somewhere that, like I said, never exist again. Like in this one spot. Like, there's so much I'd like to see that I couldn't see myself going back to Bermuda. Like, that's not really me. Bermuda's nice to visit. That is a place for me that it's a nice vacation spot. Especially if you're like single or just married with no kids. But other than that, I probably wouldn't go back. It was okay. It was cool. It was definitely cool. I'll never have that opportunity again. But if I did, I'd probably want to see somewhere new. You know what I mean? Anywho, that's my story of working at Jordan's Furniture. I have so many more stories. Having to travel back to Nashua, New Hampshire, and the Avon store some nights. That was awesome. Getting able to go up to New Hampshire, and I don't know, it was just really cool. So yeah, props to Jordan's Furniture. I'm sure they've got a channel. If they do, I'll put it right here. Because awesome. Great company to work for. And see, this is another point too, is Warren Buffett sees that these are good people and they've grown because they're good people. And he doesn't take advantage of it. He pays them what they're worth and continues to pay them as long as they keep running the company. He doesn't change companies when he comes in. And he doesn't, he's the second richest man in the world. Just donated half of his fortune. Respect, man. I'm going to go. I'm going to call it for a night. If I really want to, by tomorrow it's going to be old news, to be honest. No, it's not going to be old news. I want to talk about this epileptic girl who was having like 1,200 grand mal seizures a month. Did everything. She couldn't walk anymore, couldn't eat anymore. She had to have a feeding tube. She couldn't talk anymore. They started giving her the marijuana without the THC in it, and immediately, they cut down her seizures by 99.9%. Now she has like 1 or 2 every 3 months, and she can walk on her own, she can eat on her own, she can talk on her own. This is why, my friends, the pharmaceutical companies do not want, I think, these, marijuana treatments to get out. They don't want it to be tested. They don't want to realize that, wow, this shrinks cancer cells. Like, can you imagine if that, all this time, all these companies, they were making billions of dollars a year on their pharmaceuticals because they didn't want this plant legalized because they knew their time was up. unless they get a grip on it. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't want to see it go this way. I don't know. But I really want to talk about this whole story. And it was recently on the news again. I think it's actually an old story, but it's becoming more and more frequent now that the cat's out of the bag. Well, keep on loving each other. And I'll catch you tomorrow night where we're going to dig in a little bit more. These were fun, really nice reminiscing stories that I hope people enjoy, and I hope that maybe someday my kids enjoy. Because I think it'd be pretty damn cool to be talking to them right now. I need to do that some night, not for here, but talk to a camera to my 18-year-old Grayson or my 24-year-old Griffin. You know what I mean? Like, because someday that will come to pass, unless the whole world blows up, which that would probably likely anyway. So, anywho, with that, I wanted to cut on it like it was an explosion, but I didn't think anybody would get it. And then I'd have to go back and add pyrotechnics. All right, I'm going to go. You guys have a great night. Make somebody smile, and let's make the world spin a little happier together. Okay? Let's love each other. Everybody, peace out.